Welcome to One Question at a Time, the TSI series. Question number 43. Which of the following equations has both 2 and -4 as solutions? The hint is due to zero factor property of equations. If A times B equals 0, then A equals 0 or B equals 0. So if we have something look like this, A x squared plus bx plus c, that quadratic expressions is equal to sum of the zero factor. Here is we have two factors because we have the degree is 2, and in this case we see that we have all of the answer choice have A is 1, so let A equal 1. Okay, so now we will have this one at x right here, and then because we have the AC methods, A times C method, when A equal 1, we will find two numbers that multiply equal A times C. Okay, and then we have two numbers that add up to B. And let's assume that I have my two numbers. One is minus D, one is minus E. Okay, and it's kind of fit that conditions. So I will write out here is minus D, here minus E. Okay, and then now I can set each of them equal 0 because as you see I have my A right here. Okay, that is my A, and then I have my B right here, A times B. Okay, so we set B equals 0, and also we set A equals 0. Then we solve for the problem. So if we do that, we will have x minus D equals 0. Okay, or we will have x minus E equals 0. Okay, then we solve for x. So we add D both sides. We cancel this side. We have x equal D, and then we add E both sides. Okay, then we will have x equal E. So this is the two solution we have. Okay, so step number 1 is we do the factors. Then step number 2 we solve for each of them, and then step number 3 is the solutions. Usually from the quadratic expressions, we try to make it a factors, then we solve for it. Okay, follow step number 1, 2, 3. However, you also can do backwards. We go from 1, go step 2, go step 3. But in this case, they give you step number 3 right here. They say your x equal 2, and then your x is equal -4. Now this is your 3. You go back to 2. Okay, you go back to 2 by subtract 2 both sides. You will have x minus 2 equals 0. You add 4 both sides. This one gone, right? So you have x plus 4 equals 0. Now you see that you go to step number 2, then you go to step number 1. You will have x minus 2. You times x plus 4. that is equal 0, right? Because you set it equal 0, it's the solutions, right? So now your job is go back to the quadratic one by distributions. Okay, so we go to our answers. By 4, this one in, so we have distribute. X times x is x squared, x times 4 is plus 4x, and then negative 2 times negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, that equals 0. And we will simplify this one, and the final answer here is x squared plus 2x, 4x minus 2x is 2x, minus 8, that equals 0. Okay, now this is the final answer, right? So we have a look. We see this is same side. We're looking for a addition to minus 8. So C, the correct answer. So in this case, I will say D is my number 2 right here. Okay, E is my negative 4 right here. So C I have is minus D. Okay, so this is my D. Is minus E, because E is negative, so that's why you have this negative E, right? And then you just distribute, and then for in, then you have your ABC right here, the form. Okay, so that is how we go forwards. In this case, we go forwards, and then to solve for this problem, we go backwards. Okay, how about if we don't know about that? What is another method that we can use to solve for this problem? Of course, we can also plug in. Okay, try to plug in when x equal 2 and when x equal negative 4. You're making sure the left hand side equal the right hand side, which is 0. Okay, so you plug in, you will have 2 squared plus 6 times 2 plus a, and checking if this one equals 0. If it's not, then you cross over, because the solutions will make the equations equal 0. Okay, and then you don't need to try the rest. When one wrong, you stop right there. And also for this one, you see that you plug in a positive numbers, and you have all the positive of the additions, which is mean it's going to be positive, more positive add up, and it cannot be never be 0. Okay, and also for B, you will have 4 minus 8, that will be negative. It too many negative, right? But you can always check, right? This one is positive, so it's not 0. You stop. This one you can plug in. You have 2 squared minus 2 times 2, that's 4, that's gone. Minus 8, that's negative, right? Then for D, for plug-in problem, you should try to do try all of the choices, because we may make a mistake in between step, and it make us be careful to try all of them before choose the correct answer. Okay, so I try D first because I know C is the right answer already. So let's see if I have it. 2 squared minus 2 times 2 at 8. This one become positive because the first 2 term is cancelled. Okay, so that is make me stop everything right like that. And then for C, you plug in, you see it's true. 2 squared is 4, and 2 times 2 is another 4, is 8 total, minus 8, that equals 0. So now it's good, we continue. We have negative 4 squared, we add 2 times negative 4, we minus 8. Okay, so negative 4 squared is 16. 16 minus 8 is 0. So that's why C is the correct answer. So you can go forwards for each of them, try to see if you can factor it, or you can go backwards, that's the second method, and then you can plug in, that's the third method you can use. I recommend to use the second one, which is go backwards, because it's straightforward and you don't have to put a lot of efforts in plugging and finding the result. Thank you for participating in this series and see you next time.